So I'm going to get the intro out of the way first, and I hope everybody can hear me. This is kind of a sound test before I get started, because I don't want to do this whole entire video and then find I have to do it all again. Yay! Why is this camera so blurry and horrible? Focus already! Oy, 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 it looks gross. Okay. Alrighty. So, my name is Fairy. Hello everybody. Thanks for clicking on the video. Today I'm going to talk to you about vision loss, blindness, whatever you want to call it. Different categories of it. Not everybody sees the same way. Don't mind my rabbit, who's being rambunctious and making a mess of his pen. Moon, don't be a whimper, okay? Be a good boy. So I just want to cover the basics. I want to cover some of my personal experiences because a lot of us have the same experiences, unfortunately. I want to cover some myths. I want to cover some misconceptions, get rid of some of that fear, some of that lack of education that's out there. Everything that I've encountered so far is pretty much fear-based, unfortunately. This will be going up on YouTube and Facebook, so feel free to share, because the more people know this stuff, the less we have to deal with it. I'm just being honest. After 31 years of dealing with the same stuff day in, day out, oh my god. It's frustrating, and it really, really does have to stop. So that takes me into the first point I want to talk about. This is taken from an article called The Top 10 Pet Peeves of the Blind and Visually Impaired. And point number 1 was that don't play the guessing game with us, please. Don't go up to us and say, "Do you know who I am? Oh, come on, don't you recognize my voice?" Yes, people, we keep a database of every voice we've ever heard in our heads. If you believe that, you are the reason we're doing this video. It just makes life so much easier to just go up and say, "Hey, Fairy, it's so-and-so." Cool. Okay, on with our day. Excellent. Introductories out of the way. I know who you are. I know who I'm talking to. And in some cases, now I know why. But to just stand there and say, "Do you know who I am? Oh, come on, don't you recognize my voice?" I mean, people do this for their own satisfaction. They do it for their own amusement. It's embarrassing. It's frustrating. Nobody likes to be put on the spot like that. I know you wouldn't appreciate it. So don't put me on the spot like that. Okay, I don't want to stand there for a half an hour and guess what your name is and all this other stuff. No, I don't. Just say, "Hey, Fairy, it's blah, 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 blah." I'll be like, "Okay, cool. Thanks for making my day a little bit easier." And moving on to the next point. The second point I want to talk about is being afraid of the S word. And what I mean is, you'll be talking to a blind person and all of a sudden you'll say something along the lines of, "Oh, let's go see what's for lunch." And then you'll go, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said see. I meant, let's go find out what's for lunch. Lighten up. Breathe, people. Like, we use words like see, look, watch out every single day. Most of the time subconsciously, just like you do. We don't take it literally. It's not a constant traumatic event every time somebody brings it up. Chill. Seriously. Like, you're the one freaking out, not us. So, it's a word. People say it. We say it. Alright, number 3. Blind. Not deaf. Not that there aren't deaf people out there. Of course there are. And there are also deaf-blind people out there. But not all of us are deaf. Some of us just are blind. So there's no need to go like 2 inches away from my face and go, "Hi, Fairy, how are you?" Pretty good until you busted my eardrums. Cool. Alright. I was fine when I could hear. The other thing people ask me a lot, or ask all of us a lot, is, "Oh, you're blind, so you must know sign language." I know the one-fingered salute, but that's about the extent of the signing that I know. Actually, when I was in about, I think it was grade 3 or 4, I used to know a couple of signs. I had a educational assistant. She was also an intervener. So, yeah, she did know sign, and she used to teach me how to sign, but that doesn't mean all of us know how to sign. I have the flip side of that, which is blind people can hear everything. Well, we certainly pay attention to it a lot more than our sighted counterparts do. I can tell you that from experience. Oh, man. No, it's a myth. I don't know who came up with it, but if I did, yeah. Keep it a family show, Fairy. It's not true. We don't have heightened senses. We don't have super hearing. Please stop watching Daredevil, people. It's no. We pay attention to our hearing more because we have to. It's what keeps us safe when we're out traveling. It's how we find things out. It's a good indicator of what's going on. We do need to use it, but it's just like any other pair of ears. No big deal. They're just ears. And when we want to tune somebody out, when we don't want to listen, we can do that too. We are human after all. Oh, I've had this one before. I don't really believe he's blind, even with that white cane. What a fraud. Look at him. Look at that person pretending to be blind. I've experienced that. I was out in the mall, actually, one day. I was leaving the mall, and all of a sudden, this teenager behind me, all of a sudden, he goes, "She's pretending to be blind? That's not right." And I turned around and I said, first of all, it's not up to you to decide who is and who is not. There are different degrees of vision loss, and unless you're an optometrist or an eye specialist of any sort, you are not qualified to be making decisions like that. If you'd like, we can call my ophthalmologist and call my husband, and they can verify my end of the story. Can anybody back up yours? Crickets. Cat got your tongue? And that's a good life lesson. It just goes to show you that you should never judge somebody else's scenario or life story, right off of just based on what you see in a whole 5 seconds of that person. Because you may be inserting your foot here, out your hand, or holding out an object to a blind person, holding out money, handing them something without letting them know, or touching their hand with it, that it's there. Again, different degrees of vision loss. You don't necessarily have to do that with me, because I can see you, at least if you're looking at me from one way. But not everybody has visual perception. Some people just have light perception, or nothing at all. So when you hand something to a blind person, let them know, touch their hand with the object like this, or let them know, I'm handing you your change on your right, so that they're not going like this and waving, frankly, blindly in the air, like, okay, where is it? Where? And then they end up grabbing your face or some other embarrassing body part. We're not about that. Let us know what you're handing us and where it is. It's just common courtesy. The low expectations. Oh, you're blind. Here, let me do that for you. It's just too hard for you. No, here, let me cook that. Let me deal with the kitchen chores, because I don't want you to cut / burn / make a mess. Really, people, it's life. Injuries and messes, they're not a blind thing. They're a human thing. A very human thing. And I can't tell you how many sighted people I know that have walked out of their apartment only to come back 5 hours later and realize they left their oven on with nothing in it. And you wonder why the fire department's at your door. Yeah, no. Especially those of us who've been this way our whole lives. If we've been this way our whole lives, we've more than adapted. We've more than figured out ways. My camera just shifted. That was really weird. I just saw it too. It's like, what? We've figured out ways to do things without help. We have to. We have no choice. There's not always going to be some good Samaritan that's just standing by to give us a hand. I mean, it's great when there is, especially when your hands are full and you're trying to get home, and you got to clean the cat box and you got to let the dogs out and everything else, and you're just like, oh my god, I don't have enough hands for this. So yes, it can be handy, but they're not always there. Sometimes you have to make do. If I stood at the corner every single day waiting for a sighted person to tell me when it's safe to cross or which direction, I'd be late every freaking day. I would never make it to functions. I would be disappointing a lot of people. So we don't just sit around and wait for somebody to help us out. We've adapted, and you may not understand how we do things, and that's why I'm doing these videos, and that's why I do AMAs and FAQs and things like that, because it gives the public an opportunity to ask, how do they do that? The burning questions. I like the burning questions. The burning questions spread awareness, and it gets rid of the ignorance and the fear and the, oh my god! Honestly, it's got to stop. It's gone on long enough. Yes, we can cook, we can clean, we can work, we can own and upkeep our own homes, we can look after our children, our pets, ourselves, our spouses. I have a husband with 6 medical conditions. I look after him every day. I have an 8-month-old son. I look after him. I have a rabbit who's more work than a dog. I have a cat. I have a place to keep up. I have a business to run. I have a charity to run. I'm a busy-ass woman. I don't just sit around all day and feel sorry for myself and go, oh, I wish I could see. I wish I could do things. Seeing and doing things are totally irrelevant to each other as far as I'm concerned. A couple of subcategories to this one that I'd like to discuss as well. I've had people say to me when, I'd be out shopping with somebody or something of the like, any type of public setting, and someone will say to me, oh, look around at the stores, pretend like you're looking at things so people don't know you're blind. Really? I don't really give a crap whether they know or not. I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm not going to be responsible for society's negative energy and fear, and stop projecting your crap onto me, because I don't care. Then, of course, there's the other aspect of that where somebody will